All right, let's jump right into this explainer and completely dismantle how we view failure. Today, we're looking at a super powerful perspective derived from Denzel Washington's famous commencement speech. Society is constantly telling us to avoid failure at all costs, right? To build safety nets, to shrink ourselves down just so we don't end up embarrassed. But what if failing isn't the opposite of success, but literally the only way forward?
Nelson Mandela really hit the nail on the head when he said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." When we apply to college, pick a major, or decide on a career, everyone is constantly telling us to play it safe. Don't risk too much. But honestly, why settle? Why on earth would you play it small when you're capable of doing so much more?
So look at the stark contrast here. Society is always pushing this idea of having something to fall back on. Get a backup plan. But think about what that phrase actually implies. Falling back means you're retreating. If you're going to fall, shouldn't you want to fall forward, like Denzel notes? At least that way you'll actually see what you're going to hit. You're still moving in the direction of your goals.
You've probably seen this one before, the classic 9 dots puzzle. The challenge is to draw 5 continuous lines through all 9 dots without ever lifting your pencil. And the literal only way to solve it? You have to draw way outside the box. Look, without consistency, you're never going to finish anything. But without thinking outside the box and risking a huge failure, you won't ever even start to achieve your biggest dreams. Dreams without goals are just dreams.
2,600. That is an absolutely massive number. It represents Reggie Jackson's career strikeouts. It's the most in the entire history of baseball. But here is the crazy part. Nobody talks about the strikeouts. The world only remembers the home runs.
1,000! Boom! Here's another staggering statistic for you. Thomas Edison actually had 1,000 failed experiments. Most people have no idea about that. Because the 1,001st try, that was the light bulb. He had to fail 1,000 times to unlock one revolutionary success.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway from these legends is this falling forward mindset. It's the belief that every single failed experiment isn't a dead end, but simply one step closer to success. Failing isn't the end point, it's a required mechanism. You're going to lose, you're going to embarrass yourself, and yeah, you're going to suck at something. It's inevitable. And this is proven time and time again, even in a cutthroat world like acting. Denzel Washington's own career is the perfect example of how messy this journey actually is. Early on, he went out for a Broadway musical, thought it was the perfect role, except, actually, scratch that, it wasn't perfect, because he couldn't sing a single note. He completely bombed the audition, didn't get the job. But he didn't quit, and he didn't fall back. He just prepared for the next one, prayed, and kept right on failing. You know the saying, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut? Well, 30 years later, he finally caught a break in a Broadway play called Fences. And the kicker, it was at the exact same theater where he failed that musical audition decades earlier.
Which brings me to a question I've got to ask you directly. Do you actually have the guts to fail? You might have all the training and talent in the world, but if you don't fail, you aren't even trying. I'm going to say that again because it's that important. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. If you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. You have to take the leap.
Okay, let's slow things down for just a second. I want you to visualize something. Imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing all around your bed are these ghosts. They're the ghosts of your unfulfilled potential, the ideas you never acted on, the talents you had but simply kept hidden away.
And they're standing there looking at you, angry, disappointed. They say, "We came to you because you could have brought us to life, and now we have to go to the grave together." Just let that sit heavily for a moment. That is the visceral, haunting cost of playing it small. That's what happens when you let fear dictate your life instead of choosing to fall forward.
But this philosophy builds into something way bigger than just us as individuals. The world desperately needs your help right now. Whether we're talking about global stages like South Africa, the Middle East, or Japan, or right here at home in Philadelphia, Alabama, or Louisiana, the world needs a lot of fixing, and it needs your specific energy to push it forward.
And giving back isn't just a requirement for, business tycoons or sociologists. You have your own entirely unique potential gifts. Maybe your gift is money, sure, but maybe it's patience, or kindness, or love. Maybe it's the incredibly rare gift of long suffering. Whatever your diverse treasure is, the challenge is to actually use it. What are you going to do with what you've been given? Because honestly, failure is often the best compass we have. Your life is never going to be a straight, neat little path. Just look at Denzel's college timeline. It's chaotic. He started out pre-med, taking some course called cardiac morphogenesis that he couldn't read or pass, so he jumped to pre-law, then to journalism. With absolutely zero focus, his grades tanked to a rock-bottom 1.8 GPA. The university literally asked him to take time off. He was 20 years old and at his absolute lowest point.
Which sets the stage for this incredibly serendipitous moment. March 27, 1975. Denzel is sitting in his mom's beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. He's this failing student staring into the mirror, feeling totally lost. And sitting behind him under a hairdryer is this older woman, a town elder he didn't even know, and she is just staring a hole through him in the reflection. Eventually, she takes the dryer off her head.
She looks right at him and delivers this crazy, destined payoff. She says, "Young boy, I have a spiritual prophecy. You are going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." And against all odds, exactly as that woman prophesied, it became reality. He traveled the globe, speaking to millions through his films, connecting deeply with people who couldn't even see the real him behind the screen, but he reached them anyway.
So, falling forward and taking risks, it isn't just about landing a job. It's this entire holistic approach to how you live. It means knowing what you know, but more importantly, acknowledging what you don't. It's about being profoundly open to new people and new ideas. It's about trusting the chances you take and the faith that you have. Never holding back, and giving life absolutely everything you've got.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with these lingering questions bouncing around in your head. How many ghosts are going to be standing around your bed when your time comes? And what are you going to do with what you have right now? I hope looking at Denzel Washington's message today completely reframes how you view your own setbacks. Don't let fear keep you frozen. Step out of your comfort zone, give it your all, and when you inevitably fall, make sure you fall forward.